My name is Dr. Tsou, T-S-O-U. I chair the board of the Philadelphia Physicians for Social Responsibility. I served in the past as Health Commissioner of Philadelphia. I applaud the EPA for forwarding their Clean Power Plan that sets achievable goals for states in order to reduce carbon pollution nationwide. We are also likely to have additional benefits of reducing sulfur dioxide, mercury, PM2.5, ground level ozone, and nitrogen oxide as a side benefit. The National Climate Assessment leaves no doubt that the burning of fossil fuels has produced carbon pollution that has made climate change and global warming a public health threat of epic proportions. As a public health physician, I have witnessed permanent environmental destruction from fracking, extreme weather changes forcing serious displacement of people and property across the world, island countries at risk of being submerged as sea levels rise, asthma is the leading medical reason for school truancy, heat-related deaths after prolonged heat waves, fish contaminated by mercury, and tropical diseases previously unseen in temperate climates. And these are only within my own personal limited lifespan, which is a mere speck of Earth's lifespan. In short, we are seeing seismic changes unraveling before our very eyes. As stewards of our planet and as responsible parents to our children, we cannot sit on our hands while we know that we're facing a global crisis of immense proportions. These proposed regulations are important, but they bear minimal steps that need to be taken. Indeed, I would argue that these measures do not go far enough. Crafting these regulations, we recognize that how states achieve these goals will vary, but we also know that these restrictions will force renewed attention to renewable energy sources. It is the latter goal moving us toward renewable sources that could transform how we prepare America for our energy needs for future generations. Electric cars will transform how we consume fossil fuels. Future homes will have geothermal wells, energy-efficient windows and appliances, and solar panel shingles. And I should add, more green jobs to create those. And more of us will be vegetarians. Opponents of these regulations will argue that the cost of energy will go up and that we are decades away from the utopian dream of renewable energy. Well, in terms of cost, consider the economic cost of the drought in California, the rebuilding of New Orleans, New York, and New Jersey after their hurricanes, the bleak future for our children on a planet that is 2 degrees warmer. And in terms of, quote, pie in the sky renewable energy, well, I think we are up to the challenge. America does best when we have our eyes on a goal and we're using our creativity to achieve it. The technology exists today. I repeat, the technology to do this exists today. These rules will start moving us in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Cindy Parker, C-I-N-D-Y-P-A-R-K-E-R. I'm on the faculty at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. I'm a physician. I took the train down from Baltimore today, actually not to quote more facts and figures to you because you already know those. I came because I know you're getting a lot of pushback from those who benefit financially from the status quo, and want to make sure that you know that there's also a lot of support out there for this rule. It's a great starting point. I would love to see it stronger, definitely don't want to see it weaker. When we talk about the numbers of people, lives saved, and 150,000 asthma attacks avoided every year, that's from the EPA documents, sometimes I think we forget that there are actually individuals behind those numbers. And I don't know whether you've actually witnessed or sat with someone having an asthma attack, and as a physician, I've experienced that way too much. It's remarkable. It sticks with you because people are working, and that person having an asthma attack is working and struggling to get that air into those squeezed up airways. And then they have to work just as hard to get that air back out again to make more room for the next breath and trying to get that in. And it's terrifying to not be able to breathe, and you can see that at in their eyes that they're terrified. And you wait for the medicine to work, and you hope that it will work, and it just doesn't work fast enough. And so when we talk about 150,000 asthma attacks avoided every year, just keep in mind that that's huge. That's really significant. That's 150,000 of those terrifying attacks that aren't going to happen. And that might be your own child or your own family member who's not having that asthma attack. The 6,600 lives that would be prevented from being lost every year as a result of this plan. That's 6,600 children, parents, grandparents, colleagues, friends that we won't have to lose every year. So that's, I just wanted to sort of remind everybody that there's real people behind those numbers. We have data to show that the public actually supports this kind of action. Survey data from the state of Maryland that was conducted by the George Mason University Climate Change Communication Center in conjunction with the State Department of Health and Mental Hygiene of Maryland actually shows that there's a majority of Marylanders who are concerned about climate change and how it is already impacting their health and how that will get worse. They're concerned about fossil fuel energy affecting their health. They actually want their government officials and their state authorities to take the actions necessary to prevent the climate change from getting worse and to clean up the air. And that's actually the majority of Maryland surveyed, depending on sort of which questions. Up to 85% of Maryland surveyed are supportive of this type of action. We do need to make sure that the poor are protected from their bills getting so high that they can't pay them, or that they have to forego something else important to pay them. And we know that actually that can be done, but we definitely need to keep those in mind. We also need to keep in mind the loss of the dirty energy jobs and make sure that there are policies in place to transition those people into clean jobs, because what affects our economy and loss of jobs also affects our health. But despite the pushback that you get from some, I want to support you and want to make sure that you know that there are a lot of people out there supporting you and wanting this plan to go into effect and wanting it to get stronger and definitely not weaker, and then wanting it to get built upon. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you both. So our next panel is